All right, well, I'll call the meeting to order. It's a public meeting being held as the City of St. Thomas is proposing to amend its water consumption rates and sewer service rates. Do any of the council members have a disclosure of any interest? Seeing none. Madam Clerk, what method of notice and when was the notice given to the public for this meeting?
Your worship, notice was provided on the October 14th and October 20th, 2025 council agendas.
Okay. I'll now ask the Director of Environmental Services provide an overview of the proposed water consumption rates and sewer service rates.
Thank you, Mayor Preston, to members of the public and council here today to present the 2026 water and sewer rates, fees, and charges. Previously, we would be discussing amendment to two bylaws. The water supply bylaw, 44-2000, and the sewer service rate bylaw, which was 172-2006. However, earlier this year, in September, council approved a consolidation of all the EIS fees and charges into one single bylaw, bylaw 9425, which consolidated all those fees. And so we'll just be looking to amend just that single bylaw now and moving forward. The St. Thomas water consumption rate is made up of three pieces, and so it's illustrated here by three different color pie wedges. The water expense recovery strategy is made up of two pieces. One is the monthly fixed charge, which we'll see on the next slide, and the consumption rate. And so I'm just going to briefly describe the consumption rate before going in and looking at some of the numbers. So the fixed charges are basically set to recover the cost of operating and maintaining the water system. So those are the fixed costs. The consumption rate is set to recover the cost of the water supplied by the Elgin primary system and the St. Thomas secondary area system. That makes up the blue wedge. The city shares some of the use of larger pipes throughout the city that transmits water to areas of central Elgin and Southwold. And these pipes are considered common pipes. And there is a common capital rate charge for their renewal. And that makes up the green portion of the pie. Together, those are the St. Thomas and suburban area rates that is then charged to Central Elgin and Southwold to deliver water to their residents, to which they would then add their local infrastructure cost on top of. But for St. Thomas, that is the red piece, the capital rate for our local water mains, the smaller pipes throughout the city for their replacement and renewal. So all of these pieces, all three of these pieces add up to the St. Thomas consumption rate. So looking at some of the numbers, there is no recommended increase to that fixed monthly base charge. You may recall from the water replacement project, 98% of the water meters are residential, are either 5/8 or 3/4 inch. Those are the monthly fixed base charges of $25 or $17.75. The St. Thomas area rate proposed increase is accumulation of the Elgin area primary water system supply rate, which was increased by 3.5% earlier this year, and the St. Thomas area secondary water supply system, which approved a 3.25% increase. Our water supply strategy is to target 70% of water from the primary and 30% from the secondary, so that when you blend these two rates together, that's that blue piece of that pie that we were talking about earlier, that represents a 3.4% increase from last year. In accordance with the 2020 rate study, the common capital rate, that green piece of the pie, is proposed to increase by 5% and is added to it to develop the St. Thomas suburban area rate increase of 3.68%. For users in St. Thomas, however, we then add that red piece of the pie to bring the consumption rate to 2.47%. Other fees and charges that are being recommended to be increased is every year we review all of the water and all the water service fees and charges. And based on this review, it is only the bulk water rate that is being proposed to increase by 3% for 2026 for those that access the water station on Burwell Road. Looking at sewer, on the dirtier side of water things here, the sanitary sewer for residential is proposed to increase by 5.25% to nearly $3. And for commercial, the increase is proposed as 15%. But I should note that this rate has been very low compared to other municipalities, and that the industrial sewer rate is proposed to increase by 3%. The storm sewer rates and the special rates across all of the customer classes is proposed to increase by 3%, and all of these adjustments are aligned with the recommendations of the 2021 to 2031 sewer rate study. So what does this all mean for a St. Thomas resident? Because I think that's what we're trying to get to. So an average resident in St. Thomas uses about 167 cubic meters of water a year. And the city's billing strategy assumes that all water going into a residence is coming out. And so we apply the same cubic meter charge for sanitary. And so overall, this equates to a 3.29% increase, or nearly $40 compared to last year, which equates to about $3.32 per month for water and sewer services. With that, I'll leave it open to questions.
All right. I will ask the members of council if they have any questions of you, and if so, please raise your hands. Okay, and then I will say I'll open the meeting to public. Council, of course, can interrupt with a hand up at any time to ask a question if one comes up. If you're listening on your computer, this is for the public, tablet or smartphone, please click the raise hand icon. And if you've called into the meeting using a telephone, press *9 or dial *9. The question will be taken in sequential order, and when given the opportunity to speak, please provide your name and address for the clerk's record. Any questions from anybody in the public? Back to the council. Back to the public. I apparently have to do this 3 times. So council, your thoughts. Public, your thoughts. I believe there's, in my opinion, there's been a fair opportunity to express views regarding this proposal, and we should, if there are no further questions, please be advised that any person wishing further information on the actions of council regarding the passing of the bylaws for sewer consumption rates and water consumption rates, sorry, there's no sewer consumption rate, just so you know, water consumption rate or sewage service rates, we should email customer service at customerservice@stthomas.ca, or you can call customer service at 519-631-1680 and hit extension 0. Council will be considering the reports and the bylaws on the proposed water consumption and sewer service rates at a next regular meeting scheduled for November 10th. This meeting is now concluded.